Hi everyone, my name is Barath, and today I'll be talking about how the altitude at where a body orbits actually affects its orbital mechanics. The first thing to note when it comes to orbital mechanics is that the altitude and orbital velocity go hand in hand. A body at a lower altitude requires a far greater orbital velocity than a body at a higher altitude. Suppose you have a satellite orbiting Earth. If the satellite is closer to Earth, it will experience a far greater gravitational attraction than a satellite that is further away from Earth with a higher altitude. So to counteract this greater gravitational force at lower altitudes, the satellite needs to have a greater orbital velocity. But at higher altitudes, where the gravitational force is less, the orbital velocity does not need to be as high. Satellites at lower altitudes are said to be in low Earth orbit, and these altitudes typically range between 180 kilometers to 2,000 kilometers. Aside from impacting orbital velocity, a lower altitude also causes something called orbital decay. This is when the altitude of an orbiting body gradually decreases over time due to a number of reasons, but the most significant one being atmospheric drag. Okay, so imagine you're running against high wind speeds. You can of course feel a force that pushes you back as you try to move forward. In a similar way, a low Earth orbit, which is closer to the atmosphere, will be frequently hitting gas molecules, which will cause a similar force, but in this case, it will cause the body to be dragged down to Earth. This is atmospheric drag, and the space stations have to regularly boost the altitude to prevent it. Alright, so a quick recap of everything. Higher altitude means lower orbiting velocity, a lower altitude means higher orbiting velocity, and at lower altitudes, orbiting bodies experience orbital decay, most significantly in the form of atmospheric drag. Thank you, and I hope this has been very informative to you all.